Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Warame, and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you all here today. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. Education is highly valued in Aboriginal culture as well. Knowledge meant survival, and our elders are traditionally accorded great respect for their accumulated wisdom and experience. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown now stands. We're very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here this morning. And with good reason. For your progress progresses us all. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when camps were smaller and clans abided by strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back got distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all, and your efforts literally nourished the whole community. You in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it well. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. See, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered there as one of the happiest people he had ever met. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They were naked, they made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the land without tilling the earth. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, and no rich and poor either. Everyone had pretty much the same amount of gear, what you could carry. There were no armies or jails, no mortgages or rents, no police, no history of slavery, no empire building. People cooperated to collect resources which were then shared out strictly according to Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state, rivers were clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now, I'll just remind you, this is not an ideal, this was normal life. And there is no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us, and we've got a lot of work to do, but we're a clever people. So I would say expect great things from your lives, and do great things, and together we can work together to put a future that is worthy of our children and a country that we can be proud of. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by getting off here and letting you good people graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Yano.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan. Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm not sure if we have any babies here with us today. We usually do, but I didn't see any on my way in. But if we do, it's inevitable that they'll at some stage make a noise or start to cry. And we have a very firm rule here: if they do, you stay where you are. There's no need to take them outside. We're all accustomed to the sound of a baby crying. We've all heard worse. I used to be in Parliament for 25 years, so I can put up with the sounds of a baby crying. But in any event, what we discovered with a lot of experience was that if a baby cries through a graduation ceremony, they come back within 25 years to take out their first PhD. So it's actually not a bad omen. Well, now, it's my very great privilege as Chancellor of Macquarie University to preside at this ceremony today. First, let me welcome all of our graduands, and I hope that today will be a really very happy and a very memorable occasion for all of you. But it's important that you relax and enjoy the day. From where I'm standing, some of you look relaxed. Most of you look a bit nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. Everybody's hand is as clammy as everybody else's, so you don't have to rub your hand on the side of your garment. The very worst thing that can happen is that this thing can fall off. If it does, we pick it up, or that you can trip over. And that often happens with young ladies in those high-heeled shoes. But we've got that covered. That's why all these people are here. They're here to pick you up when you fall over. Sometimes it actually makes the ceremony, not that I'm suggesting that you should try and do it deliberately. But you deserve to take pride, great pride in your graduation, because completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome, and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you who are sitting behind our graduands as their invited guests, because if you think about it for a moment or two, you've all obviously done very well too. The very fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. So mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers and grandfathers, friends, husbands, wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role. I have another very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they'll soon become. I want you to make sure that the testaments, the degrees they receive today, are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to you to learn that Macquarie University is not one of those 50 universities. We're relatively young, only 49 years of age. And by the way, that is young. Might not seem young to some of you, but it's much, much younger than me, so it is young. We've come a long way in that time. We now have more than 130,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research as we are our course offerings and facilities. We're always trying to engage with the world around us. We've forged strong alliances with the community and with industry and are keen to establish more. On your way here this morning, you may have seen our new Macquarie University Hospital, only 2 years old, which is not only used to treat sick people, but also used by the students and academics in our School of Advanced Medicine. You may also have seen our new library, which was opened, I think, last year, which is absolutely first class, and I think the envy of every other university in the land. Or perhaps you might have seen our new Australian Hearing Hub, which was officially opened only yesterday, and which will be a world-leading institute dedicated to advances in hearing, speech and language science. There really will be nothing else to compare with it in the world. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Mrs. Nicole Gangemi, who is graduating today with a Bachelor of Arts, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Mrs. Gangemi.
Chancellor, distinguished guests, members of the university, family, friends and fellow graduands. I am honoured to stand here today and speak to you on behalf of the graduating class of 2012. We are here to celebrate our achievements and look forward to the next stage of life. For some of us, that is returning here for another 2 years for a research master's. Others are stepping out into internships and jobs, and still for others, the future is unknown. And so it is fitting, as we look forward to our many and varied futures, that we look back to what has brought us here today. Congratulations to all the graduands. This is a big achievement and we should be proud of what we have accomplished. All the hard subjects we have sat through and passed, the long hours we have spent scouring the library shelves for those elusive books, and the late nights finishing that pesky assignment. All those sacrifices seem worthwhile sitting here today. Getting our degrees has required a lot of personal dedication, but we also have to admit that we've had a lot of help from people, and so it seems fitting to thank them today. To all our fellow classmates who have gone on this roller coaster with us, to the staff who have guided us on this academic journey, and to our family and friends who have helped keep the stress levels to a minimum and provided us with that much needed perspective. First, to my fellow classmates. Guess what? We've made it. There are so many of us, many varied friends from many varied backgrounds and many different walks of life. And it's made university one awesome experience. I've discovered that it's quite a unique place here at uni, a place where an eclectic group of people gather together with a common goal of completing a degree. Overall, thanks to all my classmates, many of whom are here today, for making university a really enjoyable experience. Secondly, to the lecturers, tutors and support staff. So many of our teachers are out there at the forefronts of their fields and continuing their research. Because of this, their standard of teaching is high and what we learn here is fresh. This is because their academic knowledge is being shaped by real-world experience. And this helps to put theory into practice. So thank you to them for readying us for what lies ahead in our different fields. And finally, a huge thank you must go to our family and friends. Really, without them, we probably wouldn't have made it through. Your support, care, love, and guidance has been invaluable. We have often relied heavily on you as you cooked us meals while we sat studying, as you brought us countless teas and coffees late at night as we burned the candle at both ends. Many of our family and friends are here today, and so on behalf of all of us, I say thank you. University is about the academic side, but over my 3 years, I've come to realise that a significant part of university life is to explore and discover more about yourself. I'm sure as graduates, we've all experienced this, and I would like to share with you two great opportunities that I had to do this. One was that I played ultimate frisbee, and yes, it is a real sport. My fondest memory was representing Macquarie at the University Games in Canberra. This was in 2011, and more than just competing, we actually won the gold medal for Macquarie. The second opportunity that I had was being part of one of the other groups on campus, CU, which stands for Christian Union. In this group, I had the opportunity to learn what I was put into practice, what I was learning in my media degree. Over my 3 years, I grew in knowledge of God with others, made lifelong friends, especially on our annual camps, and managed the online presence of CU. Being part of CU was a great reminder to me that whilst I was here at Macquarie to study and get a degree, there was and still is so much more to life than study and work. Take a moment to think back over your past few years, and I'm sure that you too will have many happy memories of your time here. The end of university life brings with it a certain element of sadness, as we realise that our lives are taking different paths to the people who are sitting beside us now. We will no longer see each other every day in class. We won't get to have that drink with our mates in the U-Bar, and we won't get to sit in the sun on the lawn by the lake. Granted, we'll be able to keep up with our friends via Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media might come next. But can I encourage you to frequently catch up with your friends and maintain those quality face-to-face relationships? My dad often jokes this piece of paper that I'm about to receive, an arts degree, isn't worth very much, but I beg to differ. For me, my piece of paper will represent the time that I met and made new friends, schemed and dreamed about changing the scope of media, learnt more about God at CU, married my husband, won a gold medal, learnt new things about random subjects in our people and planet units, found out that Max Centre has a Max Brenner, and ultimately grew as a person. But what will your degree represent for you? Now, as we start out, what will our futures hold? Personally, my path now starts as I train in Christian ministry. My media degree is helping me to communicate effectively with people about Jesus, but ultimately, I don't know where I'm going. And this is true for all of us. All we can do is look forward to the future. A huge congratulations to all of the graduates for what you have achieved, and all the best for your future endeavours as you move on from this period of life to the next. Thank you.
Well done, Nicole, and congratulations on your arts degree, and good luck with your future training for the Christian ministry. And I hope that you maintain an association with Macquarie throughout your life. And I can vouch for the fact that ultimate frisbee is a really serious sport. You have to be extremely fit to play it. And the first time you see it played comes as a bit of a shock because you don't realise how serious it is. You think it's just something you play on the beach, but it's not. So well done. Well, we now come to the key part of the ceremony, the reason we're all here today, and that is the conferring of degrees. But it's the part of the ceremony that makes me just a little bit nervous, because I've been told that if I confer a degree on someone who's not eligible to receive it, there's nothing I can do to take it back. So I need a guarantee from the Deputy Registrar that each and every one of you never was late in submitting an assignment, never missed a class, and are otherwise eligible to graduate today. Deputy Registrar, can you give me that assurance?
Chancellor, I certify that all the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University, and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees or diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at today's ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. Students and staff in this faculty work together within and across disciplinary boundaries to ask questions about socially complex problems, to identify paths of research, to analyse and communicate ideas in creative formats, and to reflect on the skills and knowledge they will need to understand the world, past and present. Students are encouraged to use their skills and talents to connect with local and global communities. This faculty includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, English, Indigenous studies, international studies, law, media, music and cultural studies, modern history, politics, international relations and security, philosophy, and sociology. Chancellor, I now call on Professor John Simons, Executive Dean of the Faculty of Arts, to present the graduates. Professor Simons.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates and diplomates from the Faculty of Arts whom we have admitted to degrees or awarded diplomas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Jianlan Huang, who studied under a co-tutel joint PhD agreement with the Communication University of China in the People's Republic of China, for a thesis entitled Framing Migrant Workers, News Media and the Discursive Construction of Citizenship in Transitional China. Dr. Ji Li for a thesis entitled Cooperation and Image in the Climate Change Context. Australia frames China as an environmental actor. Dr. Anthony Thomas McHugh for a thesis entitled Faces Inside and Outside the Clinic, a Perspective on Surface Truth's Invisible Depths. Dr. Stefano Spinelli for a thesis entitled The Relationship Between Cinema and Paintings in Michelangelo Antonioni's Films. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Communication, Jia Liu. Corey Unita Mirianti. Lin Chan Chin. Yilin Wu. Yongqi Zhu. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Arts with First Class Honours, Timothy Joel Evans. Julianne Elizabeth Green. Jessica Claire Willis. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Arts, Lee Ann Dowland. Hannah Quayle. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Creative Arts with First Class Honours, Emily Jane Gilfillan. Kate Mavanwi Maguire Rosier. Selena Maria Springett. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Media with First Class Honours, Tracy Megan Adams. Siobhan Francesca Lyons. Adrian McMurray. Jake Stephen Owens. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Caitlin Adamson. Krista Bella Adriana. Catherine Allen. Caitlin Vivienne Angwin. Marco Anthony Armano. David Robert George Arthur. John Ballantyne. Ellen Marie Becker. Annabelle Berry. Michael Block. Jessica Boron Ragusa. Katerina Alexandra Boris. May Brennan. Anne-Marie Brockenhuis-Schack. Simon Buterin. Allegra Stefania Caldwell. Yabing Chong. Amy Y. Chi Chung. Alex Jade Connolly. Natalie Corsini. Jade Marie Kotick. Deborah Melissa Crivero. Catherine Croft. Claudine Isabel Cruz. Madeline Ann Dart. Matthew Peter Dixon. Rachel Sarah Dixon. Keely Tennille Dornham. Elise Duchatel. Cameron Edmund. Catherine Edwards. Hannah Margaret Elliott. Adam Fazzolari. Patrick Allen Fury. Rachel Lauren Fisher. Shirley Stephanie Fu. Nicole Louise Gangemi. Sean Scott Tyrrett Golding. Anna Gooden. Amy Michelle Goodman. Jessica Ann Goodwin. Adrienne Claire Grealish. Karsha Tui Green. Hayden Lawrence Gregory. Pu Guo. Nicholas Hagland. Amy Jean Hawkins. Philippa Jane Hogg. Catherine Marianne Honan. Imogen Hopper. Casey Lee Horner. Daniel James Hausman. Ginevra May Howard. Yishin Stephanie Hu. Thierry Huet. Catherine Mirinda Howen. Rebecca Jeffrey. Adam Jetson. Paige Imogen Constance Jones. Amanda Yeldar Kiufi. Lily Lang. Meg Laurie. Mardi Cole Lagur. Rocco Antonio Leone. Jia Liu. Ashley Shea Lonsdale. Joshua William Lauder. C. Hang Jefferson Liu. Alizzy Catherine Mackay-Leka. Francesca Teresa Macquarie. Zena Malas. Zachary Alexander James Manny. Jessica Beth McDonnell. Carly Marie McKenna. Elizabeth Faye Milazzo. Ellen Morris. Mao Nagasawa. Rebecca Catherine Nagus. Phong Toi Nguyen. Timothy O'Connor. Alexandra Payne. Amelia Pozdersky. Katerina Louisa Plioplis. Prakash Prabhakaran. Teresa Ann Richardson. Freya Robertson. Nicole Robertson. Adam Bruce Roper. Angus Russell. Amy Sato. Andrew Scanlon. Shi Yang Sheng. Leah Simpson. Hannah Louise Smith. Thank you. Alex John Smythe. Isabel Veronica Solis Ruminot. Maya Papatuanuku Solomon. Monique Malai Som. Laura Alice Somerville. Timothy David Southgate. James Stewart. Emily Jane Surian. Lindsay Tagg. Talon Reese Thomas. Claire Elizabeth Tinker. Jonas Tobias. Yasemin Tunjel. Kelsey Victoria Tribe. Lois Ruth Vega. Ellie Louise Vindin. Marko Vukovic. Alexandra Elizabeth Walker. Sean Thomas Walker. Rhys Hugh Wallace. Ashley Walls. Alexander Thomas Waters. Helen Wilson. Emma Woodward. Matthew Warboys. Li Hua She. Yixin Yang. Li Tian Zhang. Zhao Zhang. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Media, Michael James Collins. Matthew Joseph Comensoli. Christopher Kosivas. James Creether. Adrian Adi Dharma. Caitlin Fogarty. Daniel Janazian. Mahmouda Kushbakht. Kelly Kwon. Michael Larcher. Aaron Earl Preby. Elise Caitlin Thomas. Jesse James Ward. I present graduates submitted to the degree of Bachelor of Creative Arts, Rebecca Canty. Ashley Elizabeth Monaghan. Victoria Ann Morgan. I present graduates submitted to the degree of Bachelor of Creative Arts, International Studies, Laura Emily Munns. Lauren Oxenham. I present graduates submitted to the degree of Bachelor of International Communication, Anthea Crosby. Alexandra Kate Ewens. Sofia Kuznetsova. Mia Grace Kwok. Catherine Lockery. I present graduates submitted to the degree of Bachelor of Media, Charles Daniel Broad. Grace Caristo. Mitchell Luke Doyle. Elizabeth Claire Elias. Grace Stella Elliott. Catherine Claire Gunn. All right. Jessica Louise Moore. Kim Haley Raisin. Thomas Henry Conrad Roberts. Rashita Linchun Senavaratne. Lauren Alicia Silvers. Richard Vorobiev. Joseph William Wallace. Chancellor, that completes this morning's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Well, that wasn't too bad, was it? That beautiful voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Okay, it's very simple. You enrol in another degree, and when you come back next time, we'll have Angela singing at your graduation, I promise you. I think Angela deserves another great round of applause. And so too do our musicians. Over there we have Dr. James Forsyth, our organist. And Melanie McLaughlin, our trumpeter. And sitting between them are some very nice people who are our alumni volunteers, and they come along to make sure that everything goes smoothly at your graduation, so I'm sure you'd like to thank them as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as part of this graduation ceremony, we also honour 4 members of staff from the Faculty of Arts who have made outstanding contributions to student learning at Macquarie University. I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, Professor Bruce Doughton, to read the citations. Professor Doughton.
Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. Marina Harvey, Dr. Trudy Ambler, and Dr. Jade Kahir to stand for the citation and come forward. Chancellor, Dr. Harvey, Dr. Ambler, and Dr. Kahir are 2012 winners of the Vice-Chancellor's citation for outstanding contribution to student learning. Together, they won their citation for their development of the spectrum approach to mentoring as a scholarly service innovation that enhances learning and teaching by fostering collegial partnerships, encouraging advanced skills in reflective practice, providing access to professional learning, conducting and publishing research related to teaching, and promoting and distributed leadership. The spectrum approach to mentoring is research-based and has developed a suite of flexible resources that have been adopted across the campus to support and train students for their roles as Macquarie mentors, and also by institutions external to this university. Chancellor, I present to you truly worthy recipients of the 2012 Vice-Chancellor's citation for outstanding contribution to student learning, Dr. Marina Harvey, Dr. Trudy Ambler, and Dr. Jade Kahir from the Learning and Teaching Centre and the Faculty of Arts. Thank you. Chancellor, it also gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. Sabine Kajewski to come forward. Dr. Kajewski is also a 2012 winner of a Vice-Chancellor's citation for outstanding contribution to student learning. Dr. Kajewski teaches intercultural communication to postgraduate coursework students who are linguistically and culturally diverse. Her focus is on increasing intercultural competence and an understanding of social inclusion. Dr. Kajewski achieves the learning outcomes of her unit through an aligned assessment called Intercultural Sydney, where students must work in intercultural teams to research, report on, and communicate a Sydney intercultural activity. Student learning outcomes and student feedback provide truly glowing praise for her pedagogically astute cultural sensibilities. Chancellor, I present to you a truly worthy recipient of a 2012 Vice-Chancellor Citation for Outstanding Contribution to Student Learning, Dr. Sabine Kajewski from the Department of Media, Music, Communications and Cultural Studies in the Faculty of Arts.
Well, graduates, excuse me, and ladies and gentlemen, it is also our pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with a resolution of the University Council, Dr. Kate Grenville for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa of Macquarie University. I now invite Professor Bruce Doughton to read the citation. Professor Doughton.
I invite Dr. Kate Grenville to stand for the citation. Chancellor, one of Australia's finest writers, Kate Grenville has made a significant contribution to the Australian literary landscape. The author of 8 books of fiction and 4 about the writing process, her works have been internationally published and translated into several languages. Born in Sydney, she completed a Bachelor of Arts degree at the University of Sydney and worked in the film industry before beginning her writing career whilst travelling overseas in the United Kingdom and Europe. In 1980, she completed a Master of Arts degree in creative writing at the University of Colorado in the United States of America. She returned to Australia in 1983, and her first book, a collection of stories called Bearded Ladies, was published a year later. Shortly after, she published her first novel, Lillian's Story. It received critical acclaim, winning the Australian Vogel Literary Award. This work soon became one of Australia's best-loved novels and went on to become a film starring Ruth Cracknell, Toni Collette and Barry Otto. This would be the first of many awards for her work in Australia and internationally. The international bestseller, The Secret River, is perhaps her most famous work. It has won numerous prizes, including the Commonwealth Prize for Literature and the Christina Stead Prize, and was shortlisted for the Man Booker Award and the Miles Franklin Award. Her most recent novel, Sarah Thornhill, was published in August 2011. Dr. Grenville and her work have been widely recognised throughout the academic literary community as well. An inspiration to other writers, Dr. Grenville's works and books about the writing process and her memoir about the writing of The Secret River are used in many writing courses in schools and universities across this country and beyond. Kate Grenville is one of Australia's best-known and finest authors. Many of her works have become Australian classics, admired by critics and the general public alike. Chancellor, it is with distinct pleasure that I present to you Kate Grenville for the award of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Kate Grenville, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Grenville. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Dr. Kate Grenville to deliver the occasional address. Please welcome Dr. Grenville.
Thank you, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the University, graduates and guests. And I want to thank Chris Tobin for his welcome to country, and to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting today, and to pay my respects to their elders. The first and probably the last thing to say to you is congratulations to those of you who are sitting there in hats almost as funny as my own this morning. Congratulations. Being here today marks a mighty achievement. 3 or 4 years ago, you decided to do this thing of getting a degree, and here you are, holding proof of that achievement in your hand. The first time I was at a graduation ceremony was my own, which was way back in 1972. If you can believe it, this was before the internet, before mobile phones. If I told you that we wrote on papyrus scrolls, you'd probably believe me. I was too nervous to enjoy that one. The gown kept slipping off my shoulders, the hood thing was garrotting me, the mortarboard was not made for hair like mine. I wish now that I'd enjoyed it more. I wish I'd realised what a great moment it was, as it is a great moment for all of you. In America, these events aren't called graduation, but commencement. And of course, this is a beginning. But still, before you think about what comes next, which for many of you is probably a bit of a blank, this is the moment to bask a little. Enjoy the warm glow. You deserve it. Please, each of you turn to the person next to you, shake hands, congratulate each other. What have you done? Well, of course, you've learned all sorts of things. Great ideas thought by earlier people have become part of your mental landscape. And you've added to them by producing things, words and images, recording the intellectual and imaginative journey that you've been engaged in. That's brilliant, and I salute you for all of it. But even as we sit here, new ideas are making those old ones obsolete. The things that you've produced perhaps already look a little bit quaint. So do you have anything of permanent value from those years, apart from the fungibility of that bit of paper, its usefulness in the world as a transactional object? The answer is yes. Your degrees will open doors into careers that will be satisfying, fulfilling, and perhaps, you never know, even lucrative. But the greatest value of what happened to you here over the last few years lies elsewhere. Einstein famously said that he didn't think he was particularly clever, it was just that he was curious about things. He wanted to know what made them the way they were. And essentially, whatever the exact nature of your studies, that's what you've been doing, thinking about why things are the way they are. That means that you've also been thinking about all the other ways they might be, all the other ways they could be. When you boil it right down, you've been investigating the idea of alternatives, of choices. Every minute of every day we're making choices, whether to believe what we're told, whether to buy what we're being asked to buy, even whether to listen to me going on about choice. You can't not choose. In the world of human behaviour, there is no such thing as neutral. Most of those choices are unconscious, buried so far down in the reptile brain that we're not aware that they are choices. And if you're not aware that you're making a choice, the choice feels like just the way things are, unchangeable. You've got no way then of making a different choice. What you've acquired over the last few years are the tools that you need to burrow down into those unconscious decisions and bring them up into the light of day. Once they're there, you can see them for what they are. just one option among many. The way things are isn't a fact of nature. It's something created by human beings. So what you've learned is a sort of benign scepticism. You know how to constructively deconstruct anything that human beings have made and ask those important questions. Who made this and what were their motives? You have the flexibility of mind, as a result, to see behind the spin, behind the bias, behind the received wisdom. You can imagine alternatives. And that's important because if we can't imagine a different world, a better world, whatever that might mean for each one of us, there's no way that we can ever create a better one. There's another great thing that you'll take with you into that unknown future. It's about what you now know about yourselves that you didn't know a couple of years ago. Today's about success, of course, but for most of you, there's probably been a bit of failure in there too. Discouragement, self-doubt, despair, panic. I speak here, of course, of my own experiences as a student, which were full of discouragement, self-doubt and panic. When you meet all those dark creatures of gloom out there in the future, and I have to warn you that you probably will, you'll be able to remember that you've met them before and you've already overcome them once. You're sitting here among a crowd. You don't probably know most of them personally. You're arranged alphabetically. Chances are you're sitting next to a stranger. And yet, they're not strangers, your cohort. You've shared an experience, a place, a moment in your lives, a very important moment. It would be a lost opportunity not to remain part of that community. There are practical reasons, of course, networking and all that. But your fellows, beyond that, are always a kind of family, and this place is always a kind of home. Not all that many places in the world are welcoming. Treasure your connections with this one. Every one of us here today is here because other people have helped us to get here. To help someone else get an education is one of the highest gifts of love and respect that one human being can give another. Thank you, all the mothers and fathers, the aunts and uncles, the brothers and sisters sitting up there. Thank you, all the people outside the family, teachers, friends, all the people who've cared about you, who've encouraged you, listened to you, even rapped you over the knuckles when you needed it. And I'd like to thank all those who did that for me, my family, my friends and colleagues, and the inspiring teachers that I've been lucky enough to be changed by along the way. Their efforts are why I'm standing here today, receiving this very great honour. I share that honour with them, and on behalf of those others, as well as myself, I thank the university for acknowledging all of us. I very much hope that you will find your lives enriched by your studies, as mine has been. Congratulations, and all the very best for your promising futures. Thank you.
Well, graduates, I'm sure you'll agree that was a truly great occasional address, and I think you've been very, very privileged to hear it at your graduation ceremony, and very privileged to have a great Australian like Kate Grenville at your graduation. So please give Kate another great round of applause. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it's certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of Macquarie alumni, which now spans the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please do make sure that you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, or perhaps even use our aquatic and fitness and sporting facilities, or even if the mood takes you, as it seems to on graduation days, to enjoy a picnic down by our beautiful lake. Well, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges. But like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the betterment of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you have enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you today. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things for me. Graduates, would you now please stand? And would you put your testaments, your degrees, on the seats behind you so that your hands are nice and free? And I'd like you to turn around and face your families and friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Now you can turn around now, but please don't sit down. Here on the dais are representatives of our academic staff who have supported you throughout your journey. So please join me in thanking them as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the courtyard through the centre aisle and will be followed by all of the graduates. I would invite you all to now please stand. And please remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out. And then I invite you to join us at the University Court for some light refreshments. There's a glass of celebratory champagne for those who would like it. There's even these days some ice creams for the kids and old folks like me. So please avail yourself of them. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future, and in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you.